morning. This is section 1, lesson 6, Bible reading. Today we're reading Genesis 19 through 21 and Psalm 6. Genesis 19, the doom of Sodom. It was evening when the two angels came to Sodom. Lot was sitting at Sodom's city gate. Seeing them, Lot got up to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. And he said, "See here, my lords, please turn aside and come into your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may get up early and go on your way." But they said, "No, we will spend the night in the open plaza of the city." However, Lot strongly urged them, so they turned aside and entered his house, and he prepared a feast for them with wine and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. But before they lay down to sleep, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house, all the men from every quarter. And they called out to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may know them intimately." But Lot went out of the doorway to the men and shut the door after him and said, "Please, my brothers, do not do something so wicked. See here, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man intimately. Please let me bring them out to you instead, and you can do as you please with them. Only do not do nothing to these men, because they have in fact come under the shelter of my roof for protection." But they said, "Get out of the way." And they said, "This man Lot came as an outsider to live here temporarily, and now he's acting like a judge. Now we will treat you worse than your visitors." So they rushed forward and pressed violently against Lot and came close to breaking down the door of his house. But the angels reached out with their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door after him. They punished the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, from the young men to the old men, so that they exhausted themselves trying to find the doorway. And the 2 angels asked Lot, "Have you any others here in Sodom, a son-in-law, and your sons and your daughters? Whomever you have in the city, take them out of here. For we are destroying this place, because the outcry for judgment against them has grown so great before the Lord, that the Lord has sent us to destroy and ruin it." So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-laws, who were betrothed and legally promised to marry his daughters, and said, "Get up, get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy this city." But to his sons-in-laws he appeared to be joking. When morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, "Get up, take your wife and 2 daughters who are here, and go, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city." But Lot hesitated and lingered. The men took hold of his hand, and the hand of his wife, and the hands of his 2 daughters, because the Lord was merciful to him, for Abraham's sake. And they brought him out and left him outside the city with his family. When they brought them outside, one of the angels said, "Escape for your life. Do not look behind you or stop anywhere in the entire valley. Escape to the mountains of Moab, or you will be consumed and swept away." But Lot said to them, "Oh no, not that place, my lords. Please listen, your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have magnified your loving kindness, mercy to me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, because the disaster will overtake me and I will be killed. Now look, this town in the distance is near enough for us to flee to, and it is small, with only a few people. Please let me escape there. Is it not small, so that my life will be saved?" And the angel said to him, "Behold, I grant you this request also. I will not destroy this town of which you have spoken. Hurry and take refuge there, for I cannot do anything to punish Sodom until you arrive there." For this reason the town was named Zoar, few and small. The sun had risen over the earth when Lot came to Zoar. Then the Lord rained down brimstone, flaming sulfur, and fire on Sodom and on Gomorrah from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew, demolished, ended those cities and the entire valley and all the inhabitants of the cities and whatever grew on the ground. But Lot's wife, from behind him, foolishly longing, looked back towards Sodom in an act of disobedience, and she became a pillar of salt. Abraham started out early the next morning to a place where he, only the day before, had stood before the Lord. And he looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the valley of the Dead Sea. And he saw, and behold, the smoke of the land went up like the smoke of a kiln, pottery furnace. Now when God ravaged and destroyed the cities of the plain of Siddim, he remembered Abraham for that reason, and he sent Abraham's nephew Lot out of the midst of the destruction, when he destroyed the cities in which Lot had lived. Lot is debased. Now Lot went up from Zoar and lived in the mountain, together with his 2 daughters, for he was afraid to stay any longer in Zoar, and he lived in a cave with his 2 daughters. The firstborn said to the younger, Our father is aging, and there is not a man on earth available to be intimate with us in the customary way, so that we may have children. Come, let us make our father drunk with wine, and we will lie with him, so that we may preserve our family through our father. So they gave their father wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he did not know when she lay down or when she got up, because he was completely intoxicated. Then the next day the firstborn said to the younger, Behold, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drunk with wine tonight also, and you go in and lie with him, so that we may preserve our family through our father. So they gave their father wine that night also, and the younger got up and lay with him. And again he did not know when she lay down or when she got up. Thus both the daughters of Lot conceived by their father. The firstborn gave birth to a son, and named him Moab, from father. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. And the younger also gave birth to a son, and named him Ben-Ammi, son of my people. He is the father of the Ammonites to this day. Genesis 20. Now Abraham journeyed from there toward the Negev, the south country, and settled between Kadesh and Shur. Then he lived temporarily in Gerar. Abraham said again of Sarah his wife, She is my sister. So Abimelech king of Gerar sent and took Sarah into his harem. But God came to Amalek in a dream during the night and said, Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken as your wife, for she is another man's wife. Now Abimelech had not come near her. So he said, Lord, will you kill a people who are righteous and innocent and blameless regarding Sarah? Did Abraham not tell me she is my sister? And she herself said, He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands I have done this. Then God said to him in a dream, Yes, I know you did this in the integrity of your heart, for it was I who kept you back and spared you from sinning against me. Therefore I did not give you an opportunity to touch her. So now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. But if you do not return her to him, know that you shall die, you and all who are yours, your household. So Abimelech got up early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things, and the men were terrified. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, What have you done to us? And how have I offended you that you have brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? You have done to me what ought not to be done to anyone. And Abimelech said to Abraham, What have you encountered or seen in us or our customs that you have done this unjust thing? Abraham said, Because I thought, surely there is no fear or reverence of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she actually is my half-sister. She is the daughter of my father Terah, but not of my mother, and she became my wife. When God caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, This kindness and loyalty you could show me at every place we stop, say of me, He is my brother. Then Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham, and returned Sarah his wife to him, as God commanded. So Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before you, settle wherever you please. Then to Sarah he said, Look, I have given this brother of yours 1,000 pieces of silver. It is to compensate you for all that has happened, and to vindicate your honor before all who are with you, before all men. You are cleared and compensated. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his maids, and they again gave birth to children. For the Lord had securely closed the wombs of all the women in Abimelech's household because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Genesis 21. Isaac is born. The Lord graciously remembered and visited Sarah, as he had said, and the Lord did for her as he had promised. So Sarah conceived and gave birth to a son for Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham named his son Isaac Laughter, the son to whom Sarah gave birth. So Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, just as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. Sarah said, God has made me laugh. All who hear about our good news will laugh with me. And she said, Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have given birth to a son by him in his old age. The child Isaac grew and was weaned, and Abraham held a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. Sarah turns against Hagar. Now, as time went on, Sarah saw Ishmael, the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking Isaac. Therefore she said to Abraham, Drive out this maid and her son, for the son of this maid shall not be an heir with my son Isaac. The situation distressed Abraham greatly because of his son Ishmael. God said to Abraham, Do not let it distress you because of Ishmael and your maid. Whatever Sarah tells you, listen to her and do what she asks, for your descendants will be named through Isaac. And I will also make a nation of Ishmael, the son of the maid, because he is your descendant. So Abraham got up early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar, putting them on her shoulder, and gave her the boy and sent her away. And she left, but lost her way and wandered aimlessly in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was all gone, Hagar abandoned the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down opposite him, about a bowshot away, for she said, "Do not let me see the boy die." And as she sat down opposite him, she raised her voice and wept. God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What troubles you, Hagar? Do not be afraid, for God has heard the voice of the boy from where he is resting. Get up, help the boy up, and hold him by the hand, for I will make him a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the empty skin with water and gave the boy a drink. God was with Ishmael, and he grew and developed, and he lived in the wilderness and became an expert archer. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Covenant with Abimelech. Now at that time Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, "God is with you in everything that you do. So now swear to me here by God that you will not deal unfairly with me by breaking any agreements we have, or with my son, or with my descendants, but as I have treated you with kindness, you shall do the same to me and to the land in which you have sojourned, temporarily lived." And Abraham said, "I will swear." Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well of water which the servants of Abimelech had violently seized from him. Abimelech said, "I do not know who did this thing. Indeed, you did not tell me, and I did not hear of it until today." So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a covenant binding agreement. Then Abraham set apart 7 ewe lambs of the flock, and Abimelech said to Abraham, "What is this meaning of these 7 ewe lambs which you have set apart?" Abraham said, "You are to accept these 7 ewe lambs from me as a witness for me that I dug this well." Therefore the place was called Beersheba, well of the oath, or well of the 7, because there the two of them swore an oath. So they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, got up and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree at Beersheba, and there he called on the name of the Lord in prayer, the eternal God. And Abraham lived as a resident alien in the land of the Philistines for many days. Psalm 6. Prayer for mercy in time of trouble. To the chief musician on stringed instruments set possibly an octave below, a psalm of David. O Lord, do not rebuke or punish me in your anger, nor discipline me in your wrath. Have mercy on me and be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am weak, faint, frail. Heal me, O Lord, for my bones are dismayed and anguished. My soul, as well as my body, is greatly dismayed. But as for you, O Lord, how long until you act on my behalf? Return, O Lord, rescue my soul. Save me because of your unfailing, steadfast love and mercy. For in death there is no mention of you. In Sheol, the netherworld, the place of the dead, who will praise you and give you thanks? I am weary with my groaning. Every night I soak my bed with tears. I drench my couch with weeping. My eyes grows dim with grief. It grows old because of all my enemies. Depart from me, all you who do evil. For the Lord has heard my voice of my weeping. The Lord has heard my supplication, my plea for grace. The Lord receives my prayer. Let all my enemies be ashamed and greatly horrified. Let them turn back. Let them suddenly be ashamed of what they have done.